Welcome to another edition of Grace Under Pressure, where my guest today is Hortense le Gentil. I will tell you all about Hortense in just a moment. Grace Under Pressure is that show which deals with what's too often dismissed as the soft stuff, the caring, the commitment we exert. And when you do it from a leadership position, as you will discover that Hortense has some key insights into it, you do it to bring people together for common cause. Welcome, Hortense le Gentil. So
Hello, John. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
great. I want to tell folks all about you. You are a native of France, working in the US. You are a renowned executive coach, leadership coach. You guide CEOs and senior executives in their journey from hero leaders to human leaders. And you've been working in this business for 30 years. I don't believe it because you don't look it. You were a top nominee for Thinkers 50 coaching and mentoring, and you've been ranked 5 in the Global Gurus list of world management global gurus. Brava! So you are a member of Marshall Goldsmith 100 Coaches. You have a brand new book out called The Unlocked Leader, which is your second book, and we're going to talk about it today. Welcome, Hortense.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So I love there's a description of your book when you say, more than ever, we need people who understand humanity and empathy, and that's mission critical. But too often, leaders get locked into trying to be superheroes. So tell me about this superhero complex, Hortense.
Yeah, superhero. What I mean by superhero is having all the answer, trying to have all the answer. Sometimes passing orders, but really this feeling that you need as a leader to know everything and have all the answer. And then where it's coming from is coming from our education mostly. We were used to do like that, and we grew up like that, and our education, the culture, and everything. And the world changed, and expectation changed, and people now they want to connect with you as a leader. They don't need another hero, like Tina Turner said, but yeah, but it's true. We need a human leader, someone with who we can connect, someone with who we can be related.
Great. And that's why you talk about, and I love this because you talk about leaders that need to embrace empathy and vulnerability and authenticity. Authenticity, yes, but for a long time, empathy and humility were seen as weaknesses, were they not, Hortense? So,
Yes, that's true. That's true. But that in fact, the mentality and again the expectation has changed. So, and a lot have been said about why we should. I think the question now is not anymore why we should lead with empathy, but it's more about, okay, I get the point, but how can I do it? And because again, expectation change, and also our young generation also expectation changed. So the world is evolving. That's all. So we need to evolve as a leader too.
great. Now, getting to your book, The Unlocked Leader, you have something in here which you call the mind traps. Tell us what you mean by a mind trap. So,
The mind trap is a mental obstacle that stand between you today and you tomorrow. What it is, it's something that holds you back to be yourself. This is something maybe you're used to do, but now it doesn't help you anymore. It's this sensation to, I don't fit, I'm not completely myself. I could do differently, but I hesitate to do it, or things like that. You can feel imposter syndrome, or you can be very arrogant at the opposite. All those are symptoms of mind traps. You are trapped somewhere, you are not yourself, and it happened to everyone. And it happened to me years ago. I was completely trapped in my personal life and my professional life, and I felt completely lost. So everything went south. I went, sick. I was locked and sick in bed for months. So I had
Yeah.
to think.
Yeah.
But and at that time, I had a dream, and my grandmother, that I just loved and was a very wise woman, she came back to me in my dream and she told me, Hortense, you have to find the path of roses. Just I just look at her and say, "What do you mean?" And so tell me where it is. And she just smiled, John, and she told me, "You know where it is." And she just disappeared. And I was there and I was furious. I woke up. I was furious. She didn't give me the answer. And this is later that I will understand that what she m- she meant that I have to listen to my inner voice, not the voices outside, even if it's hard. And I was completely locked there. And then when I began to do it, I began to free myself. And this is all what we are talking about. This is lost
Well,
in traps.
I love the story of your grandmother, and now I know the story because you weave this story of a child and going through a rose garden throughout the book. It gives it an enchanting um, touch and style, which is uniquely you, Hortense. And then I think most of the chapters have that narrative, and it leads into the advice and research and things that you've done. So, what challenged you to write it in narrative form like that dream sequence or expansion of the dream sequence? So,
You know, the idea came when I was brainstorming of how I can guide, through the book, to free yourself. And then I am my one of my favorite books is Le Petit Prince, the Little Prince
yeah.
of Saint-Exupéry, because each time you read this little book, it's plenty of philosophy, and I just love it. And so I just thought, okay, if I try to do it and to take the hand of the reader through the chapters, and each time that I'm going to talk about something, try first to enter in this story, because it talks to the right part of your brain, when you this story, uh, and then after you go to the left brain, because I explain how you unlocked, and I'm talking to you through research and experience, and I'm talking to your other side of the other side of your brain. So I thought it would be a nice companion for the readers.
Well, it
And it
really
was fun, and it was very, very fun. And, I just loved to write and to create this story.
Well, I'm glad you did it because so often we look at business books and they tend to be they might be insightful, but they're so terribly dry. So this gives it a sense of life, and that's why I found it
Mm,
enchanting. So bravo to you.
thank
Now,
you.
a part of the enchantment, if I will, of your book are stories that you tell, and you have one about Ralph Lauren, who also endorsed your book. So obviously he liked his story. So tell us about Ralph Lauren and his connection to this book and why you profiled him. So
For me, Ralph. So if we go back to the definition of what is an unlock leader to me, it's really someone who is listening to his inner voice. So everyone remember and knows the story, I think, of Ralph Lauren. So he was born and raised in the Bronx. In the Bronx, he designed very beautiful and wide ties. And at a time when the ties were very boring and very narrow, he went to Bloomingdale's and tried to sell his ties. He was told at that moment. So remember, he was young, very young, and he didn't, build this empire that he has today. And he was told, okay, we're going to tell you to take your ties, but you have to narrow them and to take off, the polo label. And he was courageous enough at that time to just listen to his inner voice and to listen to his dream. And his dream was a dream of inspire, a dream of a better life. It was his purpose, his why. He was believing in that. And then he said no. And then, of course, after, he sent the ties to another store, and the rest is history. And for me, this is exactly the definition of an unlocked leader. Someone who, even when it's difficult, listen to his inner voice. And this is what is, until nowadays, it's more than 50 years ago that everything, the story began. And he continues to do that. The last fashion show was amazing. He was everywhere in the newspaper. And because he continues to, this is his way to go, continues to create, guides by this inner voice, by this purpose. And this is the purpose of his company. So
Great. And I think so. If I understand it correctly, there's the story of Ralph Lauren leads directly into your next basic concept, which is mind shift. So tell us what a mind shift is, Hortense. So,
yeah. So we have the mind trap. And the mind trap, in order to, now that you're aware that you are trapped somewhere, uh, you want to free yourself. And how you do that is first you have to track the source. So you have to track the source. So where is it? Woo. So where is the source? Who's why I'm trapped? So if I go back, to the story I was sharing with you, is it true, for example, that I cannot be an entrepreneur at the age of 40, or is it true? That you cannot divorce? So track, the voices that are the source of your mind traps, because they can have, the mind trap, sorry, because I didn't talk about, the where it's coming from. The mind trap are coming from either trauma or voices. So trauma not overcome, or voices who are not your voice. So sorry, I missed that. So in order to free yourself and to go to your mind shift, you need to find the source, and after you need to challenge it. So is it true? Is it true, for example, that you cannot be an entrepreneur at the age of 40? Is it true? Is it relevant? And is it helpful today? If those three questions, the answer is no, then let go and you begin to free yourself. And this is what I call a mind shift. So you have to change your mindset, and it's the beginning of freeing yourself. So you put away, you don't stay there stuck with stories or voices that don't help you, and that don't belong to you. So they belong to someone else. Someone else told you that. Okay, that's fine. But what do you think? You come back to yourself.
I think it's such an important concept, and when we talk about being locked in a mind trap, and then we do the mind shift, and and then with the story of Ralph Lauren, who was not wealthy at the time, said no to a quote opportunity because he said that's not what I want to do. It takes a lot of courage, guts, gumption, moxie, as I might say. So, what advice do you have on the topic of courage, of facing one's fears, if you will, Hortense? So,
Yeah. So I think the first fears are part of human beings. So that's okay to be afraid. That's okay. That's okay. We have to be aware of them. And I like to say, negotiate with your fear, and do it anyway. So, and how to do you can do it is step by step. You don't have to do everything at the same time. You don't have to move everything at the same time. You can do step by step, thing after another. And also you can ask for support. Support helps a lot. in that case.
No, that's great, and I'm glad you echoed that because so often, if we're in a mind trap or experience a mind shift, we feel very much alone. So this idea of reaching out um, to others is important, but that takes courage too, right? Because it's I'm going to someone and saying, I'm not perfect. Well, duh. So,
Yeah.
what advice do you have if I'm seeking help, um,
Yeah.
Hortense?
I like, yeah, you are completely right. Everything we're talking about here is about leadership and being human. And being human leader you need to be courageous. The first thing to understand is you need courage. If you don't have enough courage, you will never be a human leader. Because yes, you need to rethink, you need to change, and you need to challenge that. So the best way to do it is to do the work of to reflect on yourself and say, okay, what can I win to do that? And what can I lose to do it? Maybe you're going to lose something or not. But I know that you can win a lot, because this is a secret weapon that we all have. We all have this humanity in us. And the first day you do it, just try it, in a small, take something, being vulnerable, or take something, or ask for help just one time, and you will see how people are going to connect with you differently, and you will see the difference, and you will begin to understand, more than understanding in your brain, to feel it.
That's no, that's very encouraging. Now we have mind traps, we have mind shift. We've Those are words part of our vernacular. But you have a third concept which I have never heard. It's called mind build. Tell us what a mind build is, Hortense. So
Yeah, man built this. So now that you went to the process of freeing yourself. So now that you free yourself, so you let go. So is it true, relevant, or helpful? No. So let go. Now we can talk, because now you are the author of your life. So now you can write your own story. So it's your mind built. And then, because it's all also about your muscle, so you can write your own story, you can build your story. And so where do you begin? So you need to reflect how you want to show up as a leader. How do you want to how do you want to be remembered? What drives you? Uh, what difference do you want to make in the world, in your environment? How do you want people to remember you? This is very, very, very important. So this is why I call that the mind built, because now already your mind is building what is important for you. You're connected to your inner voice, to yourself. What is important for you? Having this conversation with you is very important. And
no, I like that concept, and it comes down to imagination, but a focused imagination on what I can become. And I like how you weave this into how do you want to be remembered? Because so much of leadership is the concept of legacy. How do you want to be remembered? And I always like to think as legacy is not the golden watch you get at the end, but you're creating your legacy as you go along. You're mind building your legacy. Would you agree, Hortense? So.
yeah, yes, but for me, it's more than that, because leadership is about, yes, business, but not only. And I like to give this exercise of those exercise of writing your eulogy, because then you understand what is important for you, and because then you also understand that we are not only the leader in your organization. You are also the leader of your life. You are also, what, the leader of how do you want your children talking about you? How do you want your children? How do your children, your friends, your family, your whoever? how are they going to remember you? And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about an ego. I'm talking about behavior, about that moment, that very important moment when we are not, where we will be out of the picture. How people are going to remind you. And then I can bet, John, they are going to remind you because I don't know, one day you were there for them, or one day you connected with them, or whatever it is. But not because, you increase, the revenue of the company of 100%. I think everybody will forget that.
Right. No, and then I'm going to absolutely, and I like how you put eulogy as opposed to obituary, because obituary can often just be the facts and figures of one's life and chronology, but eulogy is, as you said, how you want to be remembered. It's a beautiful concept. Now, there's something that comes into this, works on our favors and favored as we seek connection, as we seek to work with others, and you call it the Gandhi neurons. Tell us about the Gandhi neurons.
So the Gandhi neurons are okay, they are the mirror neurons. So they are my favorite neurons, by the way. I just love them. And because there are those who help us communicate. We are all interconnected, like the trees in the forest. So we are connected, and those neurons, they are helpful for two ways. First, they can imitate you. So it's how you learn, for example. And second, some neuroscientists, so like Ramachandran, for example, called them, Ramachandran, in fact, called them the Gandhi neurons. Why? Because they think that they give us, this possibility to empathize, to put ourselves in other shoes. It's empathy. It's all about empathy. So they are the neurons of empathy. I can, because of those neurons, I can, feel what you feel. I can put myself in your shoes, and I can understand you. And those are very important as a leader, because for two reasons. The first reason is it's more about what you do than what you say, because those neurons imitate. So if you tell me, okay, communicate correctly, or take care of yourself, or be calm, and you are not, I'm not going to be calm, because because my neurons are going to talk to your neurons. 20% of my brain is going to connect it with your brain, and so I'm going to do the same. So as a leader, it's very important to understand that first. Second, it's also very important for a leader, because they are, they help you to empathize with people. Those neurons, allow you to be, with you, to feel with you. And after, what is important is, I feel with you, I feel, John, what you feel. I can understand you. Okay, so now I understand you. So now I go back to myself, to who I am. So as a leader, or as a person, as Hortense. And then I can help you if you need help, or I can talk to you because I connected with you. And this is what
Well,
we are talking about.
right. Now, we talked about a profile you did of Ralph Lauren, and this Gandhi neurons bring up another person who's not exactly real, but but real in so many positive ways, and that's the character of Ted Lasso from the Apple Plus television show. What drew you to want to explore that character in the frame of your book, Unlock Leader? What spoke to you about that character, Hortense? So,
It's because Ted Lasso is this coach who, change countries, and goes to coach this disparate team who uh, who never, I think, never win. And anyway, they consider themselves as a loser. And then he just arrived. He was himself, as he is, and he puts this banner on the locker, believe. You know, just like Ralph Lauren, inspire and dream of a better life. Believe, and the message was clear. Believe in yourself, believe in your team, believe in the team, and believe in me, and all together, and believe we can win, and all together we're going to make it. And then he has his own own way to go, but this is all about, leadership. He gave hope and guidance to the team.
Right. But there's something, yes, he did, and I totally agree with that. But the character of Ted Lasso is an archetype for the kind of leader who is humble and empathetic,
Yeah.
and that resonates so clearly. And that would be someone, in my estimation, you would define as an unlocked leader. Am I correct in that? So.
Yeah, exactly, because this is who he is. He doesn't
Right.
pretend to be someone else.
Right. But he is a person who is, well, we'd use the term a servant leader. He's not about himself, he's about others. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
Right. And it's interesting now. I just thought about this because I've written about and spoken about the character several times. Like, getting
Really?
back to our other point about Ted Lasso in series 2 experiences some personal difficulties. Well, actually, throughout the series, but
Mm.
he gets help, and that's another good message. So.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And it was not that easy, right? To get help, and he had to have a panic attack, and it's happened to a lot of. I gave a lot of example in my book, and to sportsmen and things like that. Don't we wait until we are facing the wall, to ask for help.
That's great.
We,
Well, Hortense, we can keep going and on and on and on because I love your explorations of what it means to unlock ourselves and to become more effective in authentic ways. So, but we're coming to an end, and I ask every guest a story about grace. Do you have one you'd like to share with us? So.
yes. So this summer, I had my father was very, very, very sick, very ill at the hospital, almost died, and I was very touched because I was here in and out because I'm living in New York, and he was my sister-in-law came almost every day and took care of him. She didn't have to because also she just her father just passed away, so she had a lot also to do, and she did it with grace, with love, and I'm so grateful for that. And for me, this is all what grace is about: is you do things for free and with your heart.
Right. What a beautiful story, how your sister-in-law helped your father. That's a wonderful thing, and that is an act of grace. And not only toward your father, but for your whole family and you particularly, because you couldn't be there due to distance and things. So, great story. Hortense, how can people find you? So.
So you can find me on social, LinkedIn, and of course on Instagram, and also my website, hlgconsulting.org, or my name, hortenselegentil.com. So there is a website, and everywhere, on social.
Great. Well, it is a wonderful book, Unlocked Leader. We had fun speaking today. Hortense, thank you for joining us and hope to connect soon. With
Thank
that,
you,
we're out.
John, for having us. Thank you for having me. It was fun. Thank you.
It's great. With that.